So holiday traditions that no longer exist? Is that what
Holiday
you-
traditions that no longer exist. But wait a minute, when are we posting this?
I'll post it Monday if you
You'll
want.
post it Monday? Okay, so
Yeah.
that way it'll be fresh and relevant.
Yes. And thank you, Mila Smalley, for the suggestions. I wish other people would give us suggestions. Or I could post this sooner if you want. We could do as like a special Halloween edition if you want to include some Halloween traditions.
Did you want to do Halloween traditions? We could do that.
Okay, we could do all sorts of traditions, including Halloween traditions.
Halloween is a holiday.
Yeah.
For me, Halloween sets off the holiday season because you have Halloween. A month later, you have Thanksgiving. A month later, you have the Christmas traditions. And then you have New Year's the following week after Christmas.
You also have Hanukkah, and sometimes you have Eid, depending on, they do I think the lunar, I don't know. They do it more, they don't do it by our Julian calendar, they do it by like the,
Lunar calendar?
yeah, I guess that's
Okay. If somebody knows that, please put a comment in there, or if you have a good source, put a link down there in your comment for us to follow and teach us something. We'd like to
Yeah.
learn.
Yep. I don't know how they determine, but it's not with the Julian calendar because it's different every year. I do remember one year, 1 or 2 years in a row, it was right around Christmas. Could you imagine having to fast if you just recently converted and you'd have to fast around the holidays where I have all these fatty cookies and stuff. Anyways, so let's go.
Okay, so holiday traditions that no longer exist. When I first read this question, the immediate thing that I thought of was Christmas caroling. Because I remember as a kid going out and Christmas caroling in the village of Onstead.
You Christmas, see, I think I only Christmas caroled one time. And that was for church, and we went through to assisted living homes.
So yeah, we went to the Christmas caroling.
Did you go so you went house to house?
House to house caroling.
Okay, I don't recall ever doing that.
Out in the snow.
Now we don't even have any snow around Christmas, really.
Rarely. Did you know our zones changed from 5 to 6?
I know it went from, they separated A's and B's, and we went from 5 to 5B, and then I didn't know we went to 6. I didn't know we were at 6 yet.
Yep, we're in 6.
Okay. That's
That's
good
okay.
to know.
Less snow I have to drive in. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know we're getting away from the subject, but
We always do.
I heard on the news today on the radio on my way here. I heard on our local radio 92.5 or 92.1 or whatever it is.
Is it WLEN?
WCSR in
Oh, okay.
Hillsdale.
I don't know
Yeah,
that one.
WCSR out of Hillsdale. I heard that Consumers Energy is going to start shutting off power ahead of large storms. And the reason they say they're doing that is to prevent wildfires and to prevent damage to the infrastructure. So they said 24 hours before a mandatory shut off, when they're expecting severe weather, they're going to text the residents whom they believe they're going to shut off or whom they have scheduled to shut off, and they're going to let you know when they've scheduled to shut you off.
Yeah, I think that.
Do you have a generator?
He does, but we rarely use it because, I mean, the power's out for so little and it takes so much money to run one of them things that we've used it maybe, and it's so loud that we use it maybe one time, and I says, please don't ever do that again.
Yeah, but you don't have a basement, do you?
No.
Yeah, us people with basements,
You gotta do the pump thing.
we have to use the sump pump.
Well, let me tell you what the real reason probably is. Consumers Energy is trying to make a deal with these AI people, and they're going to suck up a lot of our power. And you think it's bad now? We're going to have brownouts and blackouts like crazy because they suck up a lot of power.
Are we getting the data centers in Michigan?
Not if we oppose them. There's people that have been picketing it and denying them access to building there. I don't know if anyone yet has been approved, any major ones have been approved yet. But as of yet, there's been so much opposition in so many high traffic areas that they have not been able yet to build.
I heard they're quietly trying to sneak some in Branch County.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Do you know where Branch County is? Just on the other side of Hillsdale. So that's one county over.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't doubt anything. But Consumers Energy is gonna, they want this to pay, because they're gonna make a lot of money.
It's all about the money.
You know, that's why they want us to switch from batteries to rechargeable batteries, because we're using electricity for it, you know. It's why they're all into this big brother in your house, you know, your Alexa and your smart this and smart that, because it runs off their electricity.
Yep.
So anyways, let's get back to traditions that don't exist anymore. So that was one thing that you do. And the only people that I know that actually do caroling anymore is Sacred Heart.
Really?
They'll go from business to business and like they'll do the library every year, and I'm sure they probably go to the civic center and do the police.
Kids or the adults?
Kids.
Okay.
The kids will take, I don't know what specific grades do it,
Okay.
but Sacred Heart still does it every year.
Sacred Heart School.
Sacred Heart School, yes.
Okay.
And other than that, I don't know who else. I don't know who else around here does caroling.
We used to do it with the 4-H club. It was the 4-H club that did it.
Okay.
That was our December meeting.
Just going
caroling,
on
yeah.
Oh, okay. There was 1 or 2 years, maybe at the church, the youth group, where at the one church I went to did it, but it wasn't consistent every year.
I'd like to do that again. I want to go caroling.
I don't. It never appealed to me, never. Oh, let me tell you a funny story about caroling. Okay, so apparently my mom knew that there was going to be carolers coming to the house. Somehow. Or maybe it was just a caroling year. I don't remember. But my mom went out and they always kept a little extra money, not always, sometimes, kept a little extra money under the thing where you keep the utensils, the plastic thing that holds the utensils in your utensil drawer.
Uh-huh.
Well, they'd keep she was going out grocery shopping or something, and she says, if somebody comes for caroling, the money's under
the spoon tray.
The tray. And so we're kids, we weren't paying attention. My parents were still married, that's how young we were, so we weren't paying attention. And so carolers we're singing outside. We had this big picture window, and we looked, and we're like, oh, carolers, blah, blah, blah. And my dad's like, well, where's the money? Where's the money to tip them? I can't remember where she said the money was, because he's a male, right?
Yep.
And we didn't remember because we were kids. You know, we weren't paying attention. We don't care. So anyways, we were listening to the carolers, and we couldn't, he couldn't give them any money because he couldn't find it. And so when the carolers figured out that they weren't getting a tip, they started throwing snowballs at our windows.
Oh my goodness.
Us kids were just laughing, and my dad said, some Christmas spirit.
No kidding. I didn't know you were supposed to tip carolers. We didn't get tips and stuff.
I don't remember ever getting tipped when we went, but we went with the church. We weren't going, I don't know who these people were with.
Right.
Maybe because they weren't with the church when we went with the church, we went specifically as Baptists, we went only to like the people in the nursing homes who had belonged to the church.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Baptists are just, at least the fundamental Baptists are just selfish that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so any other things? Okay, so there was one. Let me tell you one about Christmas. Well, that was about Christmas. One about Christmas was let's see. When I was cleaning house for the people on 127, the husband said to me that what they used to do, I guess it was common practice, was taking the live Christmas trees after they were done for the season, putting them outside for the birds to kind of just like putting it up against your fence or something, and the birds could just kind of like hide in there.
Okay.
And you could even hang like feeders and stuff in there, and the birds could just like have their safety and security from like vultures and raptor whatever, and they'd eat from the stuff you put in the tree.
Speaking of that, a tradition that is also gone with Christmas trees is because back then everyone used to have a cut fresh Christmas
Yeah.
tree. And when you got done with your fresh cut Christmas tree, you used to go and throw it in your ice fishing hole to
Aerate?
no, to attract fish.
Oh, that did that?
Yeah, because that would create a habitat for the smaller fish to go in and out of. So the
yeah.
bigger fish would come and wait for the smaller fish to come in and out of that Christmas tree, and you could catch the bigger fish.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
But now that's littering. You're not allowed to do that.
Oh, you're not allowed to do that?
Last I heard, you are not allowed to do that. They changed that.
Oh, I got to update one thing about something that was said, because I did find a cache of, I might have already posted them, so I might be reruns. I did post one that Monday, something that was said about Facebook, and I was talking about like censoring like harsh words, like if they use the N word or the C word or the B word or whatever, it would auto delete them.
Language, yeah.
You said something about freedom of speech, and the correct thing was like freedom of speech is only government. The freedom of speech we're guaranteed in the Constitution is only freedom of speech from government interference. Government interference of freedom of speech.
Right. It doesn't pertain to Facebook because it's a privately owned company.
Right. It's not government owned. If it was government owned, even though Facebook is publicly traded, it's still not a government owned sanction. So
Right. It's like going into Meyer and spouting off obscenities, and the management of Meyer asks you to shut up or leave. You either have to shut up or leave because that's privately owned.
And they can ban you from.
Yep.
They can ban you from the store.
Yep.
That's their right.
So public.
But if you're on the sidewalk and you're picketing, you can even say horrible. Well, not really horrible, but I mean, they might take it as horrible. Like you could say, F the police. You could hold a picket sign saying F the police. That's freedom of speech.
Right.
And by law, they're not supposed. Now, police have their egos and they do illegal things themselves, and they have arrested
They
people.
are human.
They've arrested people for freedom of speech, wrongly have arrested people for freedom of speech, holding signs like that. But by the Constitution, they are not supposed to.
Right.
And that's what people got to understand. The police are human.
They're
They
human.
have egos, so to say that, to hold them up to a standard, like saying, oh, it's the police said it, so of course they're not lying. They're human. They have egos. They will lie sometimes, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, and with any profession too, you have your straight and narrow that do everything by the book and they're good as gold, and then you have your other ones that if their mouth is moving, they're lying, they are bad apples, and just you get that everywhere.
Yep, that's that's what I'm saying. It's like they are human. But anyway, so let's see. Well, trick or treating itself is I've heard people say there's not as many trick-or-treaters trick-or-treating in the neighborhoods as there used to be because we have all these, like, when I was a kid, you didn't have downtown trick-or-treat.
And when I was a kid, you didn't have trunk or treat.
You didn't have trunk or treat either. I never heard of a trunk or treat when I was a kid. We didn't have, when I was a kid, you didn't have, well, malls are going by the wayside, but you didn't have like mall trick or treating.
Right.
Or every mall that's still standing, which they're diminishing, but they all seem to have a trick or treat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you got, and then everything, even churches where most churches, Baptist churches, when I was a kid, the Baptist churches, they didn't forbid, I would say they greatly discouraged you from practicing anything to do with Halloween, because that was supposed to be like the devil's holiday or whatever, witch's holiday, whatever. So they didn't do anything for Halloween. But now even a lot of the Baptist churches are getting in on the Halloween thing and doing trunk or treat or doing some harvest festival.
The Harvest Festival is very, very Wiccan because that's what Samhain is. It's the third and final Harvest Festival.
Well, they're not going to say that, though. Their harvest festival, supposedly, according to them, it's like your Thanksgiving, your early Thanksgiving for the earlier crops that, this makes no sense.
They're just lying. They're
making it up.
They
right?
are.
But, and you can dress up if you want to as one of your favorite cartoon characters. It's Halloween. People, it's Halloween. They have bobbing for apples. They have candy they're handing out. You're dressing up in costume. It's Halloween.
Yeah, it's Christianized pagan holidays, which is great because.
But that's really what Christmas is.
That's what Christmas is. That's what Easter is because Easter it celebrates the Ostara, which is a pagan holiday. So it's like, yeah, all the Christian holidays are actually knockoffs of pagan holidays.
But you know what? If they just admit that that's what it is and that was okay, we could get so much more fun stuff like the Festival of Lights, Diwali. We could get all these other things like what's the color one where they throw? I think it's an Indian holiday, and it's not. I don't even think it's probably a little religion mixed in with it, but it's where they just have fun by like throwing colors at people, like colored powder at people. You know, it's what is it, the Festival of Colors or something? I mean, it's just a really neat thing. I mean, if we just open up and said, okay, really all we're doing is
Christian is so prudish.
is.
It's so prudish. Even though they've absorbed all these holidays because they couldn't get the pagans to quit celebrating their holidays, and the only way the pagans would be absorbed into the Christian church is if they could celebrate their holidays. So the early Christian church Christianized the pagan holidays so the pagans would begin worshiping with the Christians, and the Christians could say, "We converted all these pagans! Aren't we great?"
I think the real story was Christians started going over to the pagans because they're saying they're doing the cool stuff and we're doing this boring stuff. We're sitting in church for 5 hours singing hymns to a God that doesn't show his face, and they're over there doing exchanging gifts and having trees that sometimes catch on fire because they put candles on them, and they're decorating these trees, and they're doing all this fun stuff. We're going over there. That's what I think really happened. Was they said they were losing their congregation, but they said, well, let's convert the pagans by including their practices in our church just enough to make them feel welcome. That's what but I think it's the same reason they're allowing women to become pastors and priests, because only women are attending church. If you go into any church now, it's women way outnumber men.
Yes.
And so they're having to have women as ushers and as preachers and pastors. Otherwise, they'd have nobody to pastor and they'd have to close their doors.
They'd lose so much money.
But they're saying, well, we misinterpreted the Bible. No, that's not what you did. Your church is about to close its doors. That's why you're allowing women to preach now. So,
Yeah. I've been going to the local Catholic church.
Sacred Heart?
Yep.
Do you like it in there? I think the inside looks so interesting.
It is very interesting. I'm going to their religious education classes on Tuesday nights.
I gotta tell you about my harasser. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, I am going to. They are so pagan.
I think they're really boring though.
They don't even know they're pagan. They're so pagan.
I think they're boring though. I don't like church. As an atheist, I now
Have you
can say
ever
that.
been to a Catholic service?
Yes, I think it's
It's
boring.
stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, kneel, stand up, kneel, stand up, sit
Call,
down.
response, call, response, call, response, call, response. I just find I find all services boring.
And that's fine. The religious education is interesting because last night they went through the saints.
Do they do the Luther's Catechism? Do they do this?
Not the Lutherans. They do the.
Oh wait, you're Catholic. That's right. Catholic. Lutheran
I'm heathen.
Well, I mean, you're going to Catholic.
I'm going
You're
to the Catholic classes.
Yeah, I forgot Lutheran is an offshoot of Catholic. I keep
It is.
putting them two together, and I don't know.
They're pretty
why.
much the same thing.
Yeah, but so did they have like? Well, let me see. A lot of this might be the same.
I
since-
think most of it's the same.
Do they have like where you have what is it? The 10 Commandments where it says, what does this mean? And then
Yep, they have one of those.
Okay.
They have a Catholicism of the Catholic Church.
Okay, so that's I was wondering if they did the same. It sounds like it's basically the same thing.
They're all basically the same thing. Even the pagan religions are basically the same thing. It's all basically the same thing.
Now, see, the
you just call
Baptist-
different gods.
The Baptists do not have any instructional to join the church or get baptized. You just have, for the Baptists, you just have to ask Jesus to be your personal Savior and Lord, and that's it. You're saved. Now, baptism is absolutely unnecessary to get to heaven, according to the Baptists. And that's something you do as an adult.
Right.
Some will let the teenagers, which I don't think you should, but some let the teenagers and sometimes younger get baptized, but you don't have infant baptism. And it's absolutely unnecessary. It's just to join a church, you have to be baptized. Now, if you want to change churches, you don't get rebaptized unless you weren't truly saved to begin with. Then you get rebaptized. But that could be at any church. You could be a
Right.
church you were originally baptized with, or it could be a subsequent church.
See, now the Catholics, if you weren't baptized in the name of the Holy Trinity, and if there is no record of your baptism, if you didn't get a baptism certificate, they have to rebaptize you.
Yeah. Yeah, baptism, from what I hear from the Lutherans and the Catholics, you have to be baptized to get to heaven. That's what I heard. Unless, like, you're an infant, and then they'll baptize you, like if you were stillborn or something, they'll baptize the infant. After it's dead, it's like it's stillborn, so it was never living, but then they'll baptize the dead body, and then that means it goes to heaven. That's what I've heard.
And I have a problem with that because how many cave people and all of those people that died before
None of this makes any sense.
before they started baptizing. So all those people go to hell?
None of them are
saved?
None of it makes, no matter if you're Baptist, Lutheran, Catholic, Methodist, Presbyterian, Mennonite, none of this makes any sense. Because what if you were never taught the right way to get saved? Or what if you were never taught there was even a person called Jesus? None of it makes any sense whatsoever. ever. And before Jesus existed, how did people get saved? That question was never answered to me.
Because the pagans weren't born out of original sin. Because they were not part of the Jesus line that came from Adam and Eve. That Jesus came from the Adam and Eve line to save those born from Eve.
I don't understand anything what you just said.
Okay.
Wait a minute, are you trying to answer the question I asked?
I just answered the question you just asked.
You're saying pagans.
Pagans.
But that's not what Baptists believe.
If you're not Christian, you're something else. Pagans believe.
Oh, you're saying what pagans believe. Okay.
Pagans believe that Christians are Jehovah God's little creation. Because in the Bible, there is the grand creation where the worlds and the people were made. And then there's a second creation where Jehovah God made his special little people, Adam and Eve. And his special people, Adam and Eve, sinned against him because he was a new God and he didn't understand things and he was learning how to be a God with his special little creation. He didn't know they were going to sin. He didn't know giving them free will was going to make them not servitude to him. So they sinned against him. So along that line, that whole entire line, the Adam and Eve line, he has been angry with them and has thrown a temper tantrum over the years and has caused them to suffer in pain and anguish until he sent
We gotta ask a question.
until he sent a savior to clean up his mess.
Gotcha. Well, Dillahunty says this well. Wasn't started by him. Jesus sent his son to die for the sins. It's basically, the rules he made him send his son to die for the sins because of the rules he made, when he could have just not made the rules to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, what is a tradition of any holiday that you see not being practiced as much or at all anymore?
Yes. Yes.
Because we got off track there.
We got we never stay on track. We never, ever stay on track.
Okay, so that's going to be this episode.